Hey y'all, I am camped outside of Moab and I'm in the process of packing up my rig to go into town. And I had a couple people ask about the window covers that I made for my hiatus truck camper, and it seemed like a good time to film that for you. So this is what the back window looks like with no window cover on it. As you can see, it's really easy to see all my gear and goodies in there, and that is not great from a security perspective or a privacy perspective if I'm inside the camper. And this is what it looks like with the window covers on. So, well, the lighting right now, you can just see my reflection basically, but as you can see, you can't see in there at all. This is what it looks like from inside the camper. And I made one for the cab window as well. The Arctic Tern windows have a built-in shade, like I showed in the full rig tour. I do eventually want to make window covers for these two windows, but typically those are less of a privacy issue for me. And so I prioritized making the lower ones. And then when I want to put it back up, you just have to feel for which side the magnet is closest to the fabric, because one side has insulation on it. And then they just snap into place. It's very satisfying. And the most challenging part on this one was the notch that I had to cut around this handle here. I was worried there was going to be like a light leak or a gap here, but so far that hasn't been a problem. And I'm really happy with how these are performing. On the cab side, I actually have been lazy and I haven't taken the blue tape off that I used to secure the striking plates or the steel parts, but it's kind of nice to be able to show you a little bit of my process. So I just used painter's tape to tape these into place while the adhesive was curing. And then this one just functions exactly the same as the other one. So this is what the cab side window looks like with all the tape removed. And I actually noticed that it came off a lot cleaner on this side after waiting. I think it's been a couple weeks since I installed these to remove the tape, and I really just stuck it up there because I was lazy. But you may want to let your epoxy or whatever adhesive you use sit for a little bit longer with the tape on it before removing the tape, because I did find that that came away a little bit cleaner. I was looking for the exact adhesive that I use. I can't seem to find it. I know originally I used a type of Gorilla Glue on my fiberglass camper, but I think this time I actually used the Loctite adhesive. The main thing is that you want it to not drip and to set quickly, because the first time I did this on my other camper, I had like a really strong epoxy, but it was really drippy and it was a total mess. So anything that you can find that you can kind of like squeeze out in a thin bead that isn't going to drip and that will set quickly is going to work great for you on this project if you decide to do it yourself. I didn't super thoroughly document the construction process of these, but I do have some photos that I'll add in, but I'll talk you through it. So on either side, there's this sort of Cordura type material. I'll put, again, all the links down in the description of what I used. The insulation fabric that I used on the covers that I made for my fiberglass shell was back ordered for like months, and I ended up using an alternative that I've been pretty happy with so far and was a lot cheaper, but I'll post both of those in the description. The original one that I had was a little bit thicker insulation, so if you're planning on doing a lot of winter camping, maybe that, or like really hot desert camping, maybe that would be worthwhile. But this insulation is just the kind that they use to make like oven mitts and pot holders, and that is quilted in between the two layers with these vertical seams. And then once you've cut out your template, I used cardboard to make the templates to make sure that I got the rounded corners and the dimensions and everything right. Once those were all quilted together, that's when I sewed my pockets and added my magnets in, and then after that I added this binding. The stitching is not perfect on the binding, but I found that this 1-inch grosgrain, you can hear it sticking to the truck, ribbon was the easiest way to get around the corners. That was the trickiest part of the sewing, and that using a zigzag stitch was also easier for me as sort of a novice sewer than trying to get a straight stitch to go through and catch both sides. If you're really good at sewing, you probably could just do a straight stitch and that might look a little bit cleaner, but the zigzag worked for me, and they don't need to be perfect. They just need to be functional. And I used blue painter's tape also to mark the pockets. So I cut out like a rectangle of painter's tape and put it on there and stitched around the 3 edges and then slid the magnets in and clipped those in there while I was sewing the binding on. So yeah, those are my magnetic insulated window covers for my hiatus truck camper. Hopefully that will inspire you to make your own. If you do, I would love to see them. You can tag me on Instagram at d.here.now. But yeah, thanks for watching and happy trails.